going to do just a little special foam roller and yin practice tonight. So starting in a tabletop position. So if you have a foam roller, place it underneath your tabletop. And if you do not have a foam roller and you're doing this from home, you can either put a little stack of pillows underneath your front of your hip pocket area. That's where we're going to address. With just the pillows, you're not going to do any moving or grooving. You're just going to relax onto them, maybe a little bend of your knees. But if you've got your foam roller, you're going to start by finding a tabletop position, and then think about where your front hip bones are. And you're going to gently walk your knees back. Elbows and forearms are going to support, knees are going to support. So you're not just going to drop all of your weight onto those front hip bones. But then once you find your way down and you can put just a little bit of weight onto your hip bones, relax the backs of your legs, make sure your elbows and shoulders are still keeping everything nice and supported. And then just take a couple of nice deep breaths here, nothing else to do. And then if you've gotten here and you're already like, wow, that's too extreme for me, that my hips just can't stand that, then move the foam roller off and you're going to just think Sphinx pose. You're going to still keep your elbows in line with your shoulders, but then you're just going to relax down onto the belly. But if you've got your foam roller here, you're going to start with a little bit of a shift of your weight from side to side into your hips. So it's not going to look like a lot, but you're just going to press gently into one knee and then the other, and just make sure that your knees are okay with that movement. Nice. One more little rock side to side, and then come back to that central location, and then just make sure your kneecaps are in a good place. But we're going to bend and straighten the right leg. So it actually doesn't probably straighten all the way, but just kind of hug your heel toward your butt and then lower it down, and just find a nice little fluid movement there. Cool. And then the next time you bend that knee, swish your heel a little bit side to side. Awesome. And then when you're ready, relax your foot down to the ground. You're going to bend your left knee and then straighten, and just take a couple of bends and straightens that leg. And again, same thing on this side, just make sure your kneecap feels comfortable with that situation. Nice. And then the next time you bend that knee, swish your heel a little bit side to side. Awesome. One more little swish that heel side to side, and then float that toe down. And now we're going to curl both sets of toes under, just so that everything feels supported, and you can kind of lift the knees up, and then see how that feels. So lift the knees up so that a little bit more of your body weight is on the roller, and then relax the knees down. And then just take a couple of little lifts and lowers of the knees. One more little lift and lower of the knees. And now we're going to let the knees relax down, relax your toes, or release your toes so that they're not curled anymore. And now we're going to push up into the arms. So we're going to press into the palms, let the elbows lift, just find a little bit of an arch in the back, and then with control, release your elbows back down. Make sure that's a good enough pressure or amount of body weight on your hips. So if you get there and you're like, wow, that's a lot, and it can be, because there's not a lot of thick stuff that's protecting those hip bones. So if it feels like it's too much, you're just going to imagine that you're lifting your elbows, but maybe they don't lift at all. But if it feels okay to be there, take maybe one or two more little seal poses, just gently lifting up and then releasing down. Awesome. And then the next time you lower down, come back to those toes curled under. And now we're going to take bigger rocks side to side. So you're going to let your arms help maneuver you as you roll across the front of your hip points, roll from side to side, only putting as much body weight on as you feel is appropriate. So you can always bring your knees down and practically lift your hips all the way off if you feel like you're getting a little bit too much of the body weight on. So you play around with how much pressure feels good. Cool. Now, the next time you roll over to the right, you're going to stay there. You're going to readjust your feet so it feels like you've got a lot of room to support with your legs and your feet. And then once you feel like you've got your feet in a good position, just take a couple of gentle rolls up and down. Nice. Take a few more rolls up and down. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully bring it back to center. Pause in the center because you might have gotten the foam roller a little bit out of line. So we want to make sure it's still in line with those hip points. And then once you feel like you're there, roll over to the other side. So you're going to readjust your feet, make sure that feels like a good enough sensation, and then give a couple of good rolls up and down. Nice. Take one or two more good rolls up and down. And then when you feel ready, you're going to come back to center with control. We're going to prop our way back up into that tabletop position. And then heck, since we're in Yin Yoga tonight, we're just going to play around with our lineup a little bit. So we'll take it into our puppy pose. So walk your roller forward and we're going to hold this. So we're going to get into our puppy pose and we're going to do about a 3-minute hold. So arms are going to reach out nice and wide. Hips are going to stay fairly in line with the knees, and then you're going to let your chest and your forehead drop down. And then you can readjust your roller so that your forearms are on the roller. See if that feels a little bit more supportive. And then once you've got a position that feels good, you're going to invite some softness in. But if this feels like it's a little extreme and a little too much, you can always move the roller out of the way because this actually brings you into a deeper puppy pose or heart melting pose. So just make sure it's something that's sustainable to your shoulders. Take a second here just to check in with your breath. So make sure you're breathing comfortably. If you're efforting in your breath or there's too much gripping in the upper body, it might just be that the foam roller is bringing you a little bit too deep into that stretch. But if all is feeling good, head is soft, arms are soft. Take one more breath here. And then we'll come up with control. So start by pulling your belly button towards your spine and let that lift you up and out of that puppy pose. And then as you come up into puppy pose, move your roller out of the way and then just come into a tabletop so you can take a couple little cat cows here. So right away, you might notice that just that a little bit of ache in the shoulder area or the upper back body. So just kind of want to work out that dull ache. Move your shoulders in any way that feels good. If cat cow feels good, take it there. Nice. One more little cat cow. And then when you're ready, we're going to swing that roller around or move yourself around, whatever gets you there. But we're going to sit onto the roller sit onto the roller like it's a chair or like it's a little ramp. So we're going to sit onto the roller in a Sukhasana. Okay, cool. So sit in your crisscross applesauce position with the roller underneath your butt. We're going to start there, and then we're going to take it into a light twist. So you're going to rotate to one side, and this is going to be one of our holds for the night. So find a light, loose twist. So you're slightly rotated, and that most of that rotation is happening in your spine. Hips are nice and heavy onto the roller. And then you're just going to tune in and see if you can focus on noticing the movement in your rib cage as you breathe in and out. Take one more breath here. And then we'll slowly unwind. So take it back to center, pause in the center, take a nice big breath, fill your rib cage up. Nice slow breath out. And then see if you want to rearrange the cross in your legs just for like a little bit of symmetry if it feels good to have that little variation. Maybe switch the cross in your legs, but then we're just going to take that counter stretch of twisting to the other side. Oops, I almost set the timer to 30 minutes. You do not want to be there for 30 minutes. All right, so it's going to be a 3-minute hold. So just once you found that little bit of a leverage twist, so your hand is resting against your thigh, then see if you can soften around the rib cage. So let your abdominal muscles kind of chill out a little bit, even the best you can, although you do have that handhold. See if you can let your shoulders relax a little bit. Take one more breath here. And then unwind, pause in the center, take a nice big breath, fill your lungs up. Cool, and then lean back just a little bit so that you can swing your legs out. We're gonna stay seated on, and we're just gonna start with some light windshield wipers, just kind of make sure that your butt feels like it's in a good position on the roller. Readjust anything that you need to. And then once you feel like you've got your seat pretty solid, keep one knee steady and the other knee is gonna drop in and out. So we're just gonna focus on one side. Sweet, one more in and out, and then that leg is gonna stay stable and the other leg is gonna move in and out. Nice, one more in and out, and then we're gonna take it side to side. So you're gonna start to roll across the glutes, take it to the side glute, and then over to the other side. I have two of you on the screen, so it looks like you're synchronized swimming. Just so you know. All right, now the next time you come over to the left side, stay there and take a couple of good rocks up and down. And you can take that big, like, so we want to stay off the IT band ideally, but you can take it really big right to the bottom edge of the side of your glutes and then all the way up to the crest of your hip. So you can take it as big as you like, just make sure that you have good control over it. Awesome, one more up and down on this side. And then when you feel ready, switch over to the other side and then take it into that nice roll up and down. As big or as small as you like. Awesome. One more up and down and then come back to center. And then we're going to hoist our butt off of the roller and then rearrange it so that it's going to come underneath our knees. So we're going to prop our legs up and over the roller. Let your knees kind of settle on so that you can get a little bit of contact with the back of the roller. And then you're just going to lean back a little bit and windshield wiper just to the knees. So it's just going to kind of smush around that the knee pit underneath. Cool, one more little swish side to side, and then we're gonna take it into a forward fold from here. So keep the roller underneath your knees, gently fold yourself over, but think a yin fold. So rather than this big active lift and reach, just soften over your legs and let your arms rest wherever feels the most comfortable. And then once you're there, just come back to that softness. Soften through the back of your body, soften through the back of your neck. We're a little over halfway through our hold here. So if you've lost sensation, if now everything feels like you're not feeling much of anything at all, now's the time where you're going to pull up, lift through the front of the body, deepen into your fold just a little bit, and then soften right back into it. If you were feeling tons of sensation and it was already too much, then you're going to lighten up altogether and maybe let your hands rest on the roller. Then if it feels good, you're just going to create that little bit more space and then soften deeper into it. Take one more breath. And then before we unfold entirely, we're just going to walk ourselves up just a little bit, but we want to get a little access. So we're going to grab hold of the front of the calves and the shins. So we're just going to grab hold, and then like you're trying to twist and turn the muscle on the bone. So we're just going to get a nice little hold and twist and turn inward and outward. So we want to kind of move rather than stretching it long ways. We want to kind of pull and stretch it to the left and to the right. So you're going to move up towards the knee joint and then twist and turn, move back down towards your ankle joint. Great. Take one more little twist and turn. And then as you come up to the knee, then you're going to take it and move it the same similar motion, but now you're just going to, like, you're grabbing the muscle tissue. And then if it helps, especially since the thighs have a lot of big muscles, you can use a double hand turn. So you're just going to twist and turn up towards the hip crease and then twist and turn down towards the knee. But to the best of your ability, keep the muscle tissue nice and soft. So you're really moving the muscle on the bone, moving the connective tissue, moving that fascia and the skin. Nice. And then if you did a double hander, just take it right over to the other leg. Same thing on the other side. Make sure the muscles are nice and soft. The double hander probably makes this unpostable on YouTube. No, I'm keeping it. Got some real problems here. Okay, one more twist up and down. And then when you're ready, prop your knees up and we're going to put the roller back underneath our butt. So you're going to hop your butt back on and then come back to those big hip rolls, side to side. So think side hip to side hip. Nice. The next time you come over to the right, take about 3 good rolls up and down. Awesome. And then when you're ready, take it over to the other side and take about 3 good rolls up and down. Sweet. And then when you're ready, come back to center. And then we're just going to kind of hop our butt up and off, but go over so that the roller's back underneath your knees. And then we're going to come down onto the ground. So scoot yourself around so that you can roll your way down, but we want to catch hold of the roller and prop it up underneath our butt. So think supported hip bridge. So you're going to move that roller up underneath your tailbone, underneath the broad hip bones. And then once you've got your way there, just give everything a second to kind of chill out. And then we're just going to stay in the supported hip bridge. So it's going to be a 3-minute hold. So just make sure that it feels like it's good and supportive underneath you so that you can think about relaxing your front pockets. So where your front pockets would be, take those muscles and just let them loosen. Let the tops of your thighs loosen, and then just even checking down with your feet. If you're holding tension in your toes or your feet, maybe just give them a little wiggle so they can be soft and heavy too. We still have about a minute left here, so stay as soft and heavy as you can. But if you like just tuning into that breath work, this supported bridge is one of those cool places that you can, if you can tune in deep enough, you can find that diaphragmatic breath moving in the pelvic floor as well. So we have the diaphragm underneath the lungs that moves down as we breathe in, and the diaphragm on the pelvic floor also moves down. And then as you exhale, there's that drawing up sensation. So if you're really tuned in, you might be able to feel that movement of breath right around in your hip area. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, hands are going to find the roller or the ends of the roller just to kind of keep it supported and in place. And then see how it feels to just pick the knees up and then hugging the inner thighs together. We're going to take the knees and draw them in circles, go in one direction, but make sure this feels good on your low back. So if it's feeling like it's creating too much of effort or too much work in the low back to keep that space supported, then you might choose to just keep your feet on the ground. But if it feels good and the circles are working awesome, then take your knees and draw them in circles, go the other way. Nice. And now we're going to keep the roller underneath the hips if we can. Hold on to your right knee, let your left leg go nice and long. And this is going to be a longer hold as well. So we're going to stay in this position if you can find it. If at any point this feels like too much, you always have the option to just move the roller out from underneath you. But this should create a really big stretch through that left hip pocket. So where that left leg is extended nice and long. So there's a compression in the front of the right hip, but an extension or lengthening through the front of the left hip. So that's where a lot of the work is happening, in that left hip area. So just see if you can let your left leg be as heavy as you can. As much as you can find it soften through the abdominal cavity. So see if you can just let your abdominal muscles chill out a little bit. And then once you've got yourself there and everything's feeling good, if it feels like a better way to hold on to the right knee, you might choose to do that little basket weave with the fingers and then just hold on, and then your hands can be heavy and you don't have to effort too much. But if you feel like that makes the roller feel unsecure, then bring that left hand back where it was holding on. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, hands are going to find the edges of the roller, slide that left leg in, inner thighs are going to hug together, knees are going to draw in a couple of circles, go in one direction. And then take those knee circles, draw them the other way. And then just assuming that you don't need to readjust your roller. If you need to readjust your roller, take a second to do that. But then when you feel like you're ready, left knee is going to hug in, right leg is going to extend long. And so now we're creating that compression in the left hip. And then we're finding length through the front of the right hip. So where that front right pocket would be, that's hopefully where you're finding a good bit of sensation. So right leg is going to relax best it can, which means you don't need to effort in the foot, let it fall out if it falls. So it might turn out just a little bit. Let the foot be heavy, relax the tops of your thighs or your quadricep muscles best you can, and then invite any softness that you can find into your abdominal cavity as well. And then same thing here, if you're holding on to the roller and you feel like it's pretty secure at this point, you could do that basket weave, and then you can just hug that knee in and elbows can get nice and heavy. Take one more breath here. And then this time, instead of pulling the right knee into the chest, we're going to let the left leg go nice and long. So both legs are going to extend out nice and long. A little firmness in the abdomen here just to make sure that your back feels supported as you extend the legs long. And then once you've got yourself in a position, you should be feeling a good bit of length through the front, both front pockets now. If it feels good, with a little bit of a flex in the feet, just so we stay a little bit more active in this position, reach both arms up and overhead and take about 3 to 5 nice deep breaths here. So a little bit of action down to the feet, just so we stay a little bit more supported here. One more nice big breath. And then float your hands to the roller. Once your hands have found the roller, slide your feet back in. And then we're going to push into the feet, lift your hips up and off the roller, and then lower your hips with control. So take a little bit of time, settle your hips back down to the ground. And then once you're there, just toe heel your feet a little bit wider and then take a couple of gentle windshield wipers. Doesn't need to be full range of motion. We just kind of want to work out that dull ache that we may have come across, especially with the hips elevated for all of that time. Nice. One more little switch of the knees side to side. And then we're going to kind of move the roller out of the way, prop yourself up, and we're going to move that roller so that it's underneath the shoulder blades. We're going to do the shoulders, and then we'll do the face. It's lovely. Okay, so place the roller up underneath your shoulder blades, hands behind the head just to give a little bit of support, and you're going to let your head rest into your hands, push into your feet, and then start just at the bottom of the shoulder blades. So take like a 1 or 2 inch roll, so it doesn't need to be huge. And then go up a little bit further. So 1 or 2 inches, just moving on up. Nice. And then move up just a little bit further, 1 or 2 inches. And then move on up again. So now you should be coming up really close to the tops of the shoulders. Sweet. And then if it feels good, you're going to take that big grand roll. So think bottom of the shoulder blades all the way up to the tops of the shoulders. Awesome. One more big roll up and down. And then when you come towards the tops of the shoulders, settle your butt down to the ground. We're going to move the roller out from underneath the shoulder blades and underneath the head like a pillow. So you want it underneath the skull bone. And then once you've got your way there, let your hands come out at your sides and just turn your head a little side to side. Next time your head turns to the right, stay there. Take a little gentle nod of your head up and down. Awesome. And then when you're ready, turn your head to the left and then take a couple of nods of the head up and down. Wonderful. And then from here, I'm going to flip all the way over, but you might choose to just roll over onto one side. So we're going to roll into a little bit of a fetal position, but I'm going to go only left side just because of microphone and the inconvenience of the microphone. So we're going to place the roller underneath your head in a sideline position, but we're going to line it up so we get a little bit of the jaw. So think back of the head and the jaw, and then just kind of roll gently onto the jaw if you can. If that does not feel good, you're going to leave it off. But if you can get a little bit of that connection point where the jaw meets the ear onto the roller, once you're there, we're going to take a little bit of a with the mouth. So you're just going to kind of move the mandible. You're going to move your jaw around. So maybe open and close and maybe a little side to side. And you just want to get that nice muscle that runs right where the jaw meets the ear, get that smushing around on the roller. Awesome. And then once you've moved your jaw, let your mouth come to a stillness. And then you're just going to gently rock the head forward and back. Just a light, tiny bit of movement. Cool. And then if you're wearing glasses, just take a second to take them off, put them somewhere safe. And now we're going to move on up. So we're going to think where the cheekbone meets the ear. So we're going to move up to that space. So you rearrange your body or rearrange your roller, whatever works good for you. But then once you've got your way there, we're going to take a little tiny turn of the head side to side, like you're trying to tap the roller with your nose and then move it away. Awesome. One more roll forward and back, and then we're going to move on up. So now we're going to come up to where the forehead or the temple is. So find that position, move your roller or move your head, whatever gets you there. And then once you've got your temple and your forehead kind of finding your way, a tiny little rock of the head side to side. Sticking with that temple forehead point just for a second, but instead of the rock side to side, now you're going to gently nod your head up and down. One more little nod up and down, and then one turn side to side, and then we're going to start to come back down. So we're going to lift the head up, move it down to the cheekbone area, take a little bit of a nod forward and back like you're tipping your nose towards the roller. And then a gentle nod of the head up and down. Nice. And then lift your head up, move back down to the jawline. Once you've got your way there, a little tip forward and back. And then a little nod up and down. Awesome. And now we're going to lift the head completely up, and the roller is going to find the crook of the neck. So you're just going to kind of let your head rest, but not the full weight of your head. So we're not just kind of dropping into it, just a light bit of pressure, and then a light roll front to back or side to side. So you're tipping your nose towards the roller. And this is just to move any of that lymphatic fluid that we may have just moved down. So we want to kind of move it around the neck as well. One more little tip side to side, and then you're going to flip yourself around. I'm going to stay on this side just purely for the microphone purposes. But then once you've flipped yourself on around and got yourself set up so that you can work to the other side, place the roller underneath your head like it's a pillow, finding that jaw position first. Let your jawbone rest on the roller. Take a second, make sure that feels like a good, comfortable position. Nice. And then once you've got your way there, we're going to yaw, yaw, yaw with the jaw again. So you're going to open and close your mouth a little bit, maybe swish your jawbone around a little bit. So any little bit of movement of the jaw that feels good. And the funnier you look, the better, honestly. Great. And then once you've got your jaw moved around just a little bit, now come to that little forward and back. Awesome. One more little forward and back, and then we're going to lift the head up, move on up. So now we're thinking cheekbone to ear. Once you've got that in position, a little tip forward and back. Find that neutral position, and then just a gentle nod of the head up and down. Awesome. And then we're going to move on up. So think forehead and temple, get your roller in position, move your roller or move your head, whatever works good for you there. And then come back to that little nod forward and back. A little nod up and down. Come back to that forward and back just for one little tip return. And then we're going to lift the head up, move it back down to the cheekbone. And then once you've got your way there, a little rock forward and back. A little nod up and down. Lift your head up, move back to the jaw. A little tip forward and back. A little nod up and down. Awesome. And then lift your head up. And then again, we're going to find the crook of the neck, but we're not going to let the whole head just drop into it. We're just going to allow a light touch of the side of the neck onto the roller, and then just a little bit of movement. Either you move the whole upper torso or just turn your head, but we just want to bring a little bit of movement so that any of that lymphatic drainage that happened just kind of moves out from that area as well. Sweet. One more little rock forward and back, and then hand to the roller, push your way up, and we're going to take it into an extended child's pose. It's the next way to finish. So big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat. And if you like, forehead is going to rest on the roller. So we're going to take the roller with nice bend in the elbows, soften it down so that your forehead finds a good resting place. And then once you're there, you're just going to kind of let everything loosen up. You can rearrange your hands in any way that feels good. Just that gentle weight of the head onto the roller, and then everything else is going to get as soft and heavy as you can. And then here, if it feels okay to do so, just let your eyes close down. Let your breath slow down a little bit more.
take a second to just tune in and notice the movement of breath in the back of your body. So if you can tune in and feel that expansive breath in your rib cage, ribs expand as you breathe in. Ribs draw in as you exhale. And then just depending on where your forehead is resting on the roller, if it feels good to do so, you're just going to start to invite a little bit of a gentle rock of the head side to side. So maybe you're rolling across the eyebrows or maybe the middle of the forehead. That's just depending on where you're at. Awesome. And then if you're rolling your head side to side, take one more good roll side to side. And then if you're at that third eye center or right in line with the eyebrows, then you're going to move up to the forehead. And if you were on the forehead, you're going to move down just a little bit. So reposition your head just so you're finding a new spot. And then once you've found your way there, a light turn of the head side to side. Nice. One more turn of the head side to side. And then as you come back to that center point, maybe just a tiny, tiny nod of the head up and down. So really we want to trap the skin of the forehead or the third eye center. So that's being connected or compressed on the roller. And then we're just moving that skin and connective tissue. Take one more little nod of the head up and down, and then gently lift your head up and away from the roller. And if, like me, you took your glasses off, take a second to put them back on. And then we're going to start to find our way all the way up to a standing position. So you come up in any way that feels good to you. I like a little slow-mo and then take it into a down dog. But if that doesn't feel good, skip the down dog. But as you come up to a standing position, we're going to leave the roller down on the ground, slowly and mindfully come up, and then place one foot on the roller and give a good soft roll to the bottom of your foot. Nice. And then externally rotate so the knee drops out and find the blade edge of your foot and roll up and down there. Awesome. And then a little internal rotation, find the instep and a soft roll there. Cool. And then when you're ready, set that foot down, switch to the other foot, step your foot on, give a soft roll to the bottom of the foot. Awesome. Externally rotate, find the blade edge of the foot and roll there. Nice. And then internally rotate and then roll the instep. Cool. And then step that foot off and then take a nice big breath. Reach your arms up and like a little bit of a lift in the chest. Think arch the back, a little gentle back bend, and then bend your knees a lot. Fold all the way down. Hands are going to find the roller and we'll just steamroll the tops of the feet to finish. So put a little pressure on, roll up towards the ankle joint and down towards the toes. Wonderful. One more good steamroll of the feet, and then we're just going to kind of move the roller out of the way so that we can catch hold of the elbows and take it into a light dangle to finish. So bend your knees a lot, drop your head down, let your elbows get as heavy as they can. Take about 5 nice deep breaths here. So as you breathe in, you're going to feel that little bit of compression of your belly against your thighs, but almost you want to exaggerate. So fill your lungs up as much as you can. And then as you exhale, think about relaxing the muscles of the spine. When you feel ready, relax your fingers to the ground, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, and then take your time, slow, slow, slow as you can, roll up to a standing position, take a couple of nice little shrugs of the shoulders. And then we didn't do a lot of side bending. So if you feel like you just want to address that side body, take one big reach up and overhead, and then take it over to the other side. Awesome. And then release and whoo, that was fun.
I'm like, oh, we should do that more often.